Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. A very stupid way of showing or at least drawing attention that you might be one of the perpetrator or the suspects in a crime that was committed is drawing attention to yourself. Saying something about something that you were not asked about. Making too much noise. Then you raise suspicions. Suspicion is like, why is this guy talking about this? Well, and they think they cover their tracks by doing that. But instead, people like me will say, okay, you say something about that without even being asked, or without even knowing that I'm interested in that or not. Why is that? And try to say, well, it was not. I was not home when that crime occurred. Nobody asked you anything, Jimmy. So why do you say that? You know what I mean? Nobody asked you about that. So why do you immediately try to express your innocence? This is what some idiots in the Ukrainian media tried regarding those, and also in American media as well, 2 or 3 articles talking about, actually it was Americans first and then it was the Ukrainians, saying that those drones, the jet-propelled drones that hit within the territory of Russia, 500 kilometers, those 2 military nuclear airfields that were damaged. This is what they said. They said, well, you see, the Ukrainians were able to do that. It was not the Ukrainians, but the other one saying. The Ukrainians were able to hit targets using their own ingenuity, inventing their own things. Ingenuity. That's the word, yeah. Okay, so using their ingenuity, they were capable of figuring things out in order to blow up the airfields 550 kilometers away from the border. So they must have been more than 550. Should have been 600 kilometers, 400 miles about. And I asked a calm question. I said, I'm doubtful that the Ukrainians were capable of changing those drones that were made in the Soviet times in the 70s and 80s and supposedly modified in the 90s with, just without any help, external help. I said it's not impossible, but you need certain kind of technology, and that technology and the satellites in order to pinpoint the exact coordinates. I said it's not impossible, I said, but it's most likely they were already helped by the guys with more technology, with certain kind of programs, certain kind of devices, and was guided through their satellites to hit the target. They didn't hit, how should I put it, 100 meters away or far on Tamarack. They hit over there. So that it was 10 meters, 5 meters. You know what I mean? It's 10 yards, 5 yards. That's how accurate they were. It couldn't have been done with a, I thought, with a commercial civilian satellite coordinate. And all that communication between the missile and the satellite and the location could not have been done. Oh my God, let me think how I'm gonna use MS-DOS. Are we gonna what kind of a operating program are we gonna use? You know what I mean? Like one that's 1,000 years old that they still operate. I'm just, or we're gonna use maybe Windows, Excel, and figuring this out. So it must have been something. So they started saying that. I said, well, that's very strange. And they said, and in the meantime, while the Ukrainians are so inventive, the Russians are so stupid. They said, not stupid, they said they're buying Iranian drones. Like they are so incapable, so cavemen, the Russians, they buy drones from Iran, but these guys, see how they did? And I was like, bullshit. You don't convince me of that one, okay? I mean, really, it's just an insult. That's an insult. So then here we go. Now we find out that actually, indeed, some Western players, United States, and some companies from overseas, they helped the Ukrainians with the targeting of those military airfields, Russian airfields. And it's just a confirmation. It was not like, oh my God, news to me. This article comes from Sputnik, and you can say, well, Sputnik, blah, blah, blah. Well, find it. You probably find it in American media as well. It's from today, the 8th of December, 2022. Drone for attempt to strike at Russia was modernized with US participation, Russian diplomat said. Now, drone for attempt to strike. Now it was more than one drone, and it was not an attempt that was successful because they got 550 kilometers from the border. What are you talking about? Modernized with US participation, Russian diplomat. Okay, let's see what you got. Vienna, the drone used by Ukraine to attempt an attack, like it was unsuccessful, that's what they're telling us, on 2 Russian military airfields was modernized with the participation of a corporation from the United States. Konstantin Gavrilov, the head of the Russian delegation at the military security and arms control talks in Vienna, said. So finally we have a guy that gave his name to whatever statements he made. Firstly, and I'm quoting, firstly, during 2022, the Kharkov aviation plant carried out work to modernize the mentioned UAVs with the participation of specialists from the Kiev Design Bureau Luch, L-U-C-H, and US corporation Raytheon Technologies. You remember Raytheon? Okay. The one where Mr. Austin, Lloyd Austin, right, the defense minister of the United States or whatever he is over there, the guy in charge of the Pentagon, he used to be a board member of this company. All right. This happens only in Romania and in Ukraine, and in Russia definitely. These are corrupt states. In the United States doesn't happen like that. So from that board, as a general, now he became the political figure. It's unbelievable. He can make shit up. And now it's okay. So Raytheon Technologies, the range of this drone is up to 1,000 kilometers. 1,000 kilometers will hit Moscow, because the one that was hit at 550 kilometers was 150 kilometers from Moscow. So if you add 550 plus 150, you got what? About 700 kilometers. And this goes to 1,000 kilometers. So Moscow, you're right there within range. It is clear in which direction it was planned to be used. Oh, this guy, you see? Gavrilov told Sputnik on Thursday, commenting on the possible involvement of NATO countries in attack. According to Gavrilov, and I'm quoting, it is well known that the overwhelming majority of targets targeted by neo-Nazis are determined by the Western masters of the Kiev regime, end quote. And I'm quoting, the aforementioned 141 Streets UAVs are aimed at the target using US Global Satellite System GPS. By the way, the United States and its allies have long been actively using various space systems for reconnaissance and information support of the armed forces of Ukraine, including for the purpose of discovering places of deployment, routes of movement and actions of Russian troops. In fact, in Ukraine, the real combat conditions, new methods are being developed for the use of civilian satellite constellations as an element of command of the US armed forces, he stressed. According to Gavrilov, NATO members are not at all worried that this could provoke significant risks for peaceful space activities and shake its international legal foundations, end quote. The Russian side, I'm quoting again, has repeatedly pointed out that the United States and its satellites were becoming more and more fixed in the status of participants in the Ukraine conflict. And now, once again, the fact indicates that NATO member countries really had a hand in Kiev's terrorist provocations against Russian strategic airfields, Diaghilevo and Engels, with the use of 2 Soviet-era reactive strike drones Tu-141 Streets, Gavrilov said when asked if there was evidence that NATO had been involved in organizing this attack. In particular, according to Gavrilov, Kiev actually had a publicly announced order to carry out this perfidious provocation, end quote. I don't understand why these guys are calling this perfidious provocation. You, Russia, were bombing civilians and cities. You can tell me you were hitting military targets, okay, in towns, okay, I don't buy that one entirely, you know what I mean? And you know, you're crying because these guys hit military targets within your country? What are you talking about? I mean, you know what I mean? I'm fighting with you, and I go and smack your kids, and you smack me, and I'm angry that you smacked me. were we smacking one another, or I was smacking you, and then you smack, you know what I mean? I mean, I extended it. I was hitting your kids, and now you hit me, not my kids. And oh my God, I'm upset that you hit me. What? I can't hit you or something? He recalled the statement of the Latvian foreign minister on November 30th during NATO Council at the level of foreign ministers that possible Ukrainian strikes on military targets deep in Ukraine's territory would be justified. I think they would be justified. Why not? Why wouldn't they? I mean, you do this to me and I'm not supposed to do that to you, or what? It's not like they hit Moscow, you hit Kiev. So Moscow is coming, I guess. And of course, quoting, of course, our army does not leave such terrorist acts unpunished, end quote. He heard the head of the delegation added. Well, it's earlier high-ranking Ukrainian official in an interview with American newspaper has acknowledged Kiev's responsibility for attacks on airfields in Russian regions of Kursk, Ryazan and Saratov. Well, I don't know why is that surprised? I don't understand. I mean, Russia hit Lviv, how are we going to call it? Did you look on the map where Lviv is? It's by Poland, by Hungary, by that area, far away in the west. Why? So that means the Ukrainians, if they can hit Vladivostok? Why not? I mean, if you want to be fair, if you hit me, I can hit you back, no? And if you hit my mom, I can hit your mom. Or you cry because I hit your mom, but who hit my mom? 50 fucking times. You. Anyway, I didn't have any doubts that Ukrainians were helped by these guys, more or less. And the fact that they came with that thing when they said that it was the Ukrainians innovated those things and they're smart, and the Russians buy Iranian drones, that means they're dumb, they can't figure things out instead, unlike the creative Ukrainians. I was ding 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 ding. That's a big giveaway, boy. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.